Morning, guys. Welcome to WRME Live, where we are here for whatever you need, primarily real estate stuff.
I don't like grocery shopping, so don't call me to do your grocery shopping.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of gluten-free stuff if I'm the one doing it, and I don't guarantee you'll taste any
You'll
good.
talk your ear off with real estate.
Would you like to buy a house? That could be a little bit excessive, but that's why you watch the videos, so you can learn stuff about real estate. And we're already seeing an increase in REO, which is real estate owned generally by banks. Sometimes it's the government, but we'll get there. Short sales. That's where the owner and the bank make an agreement where the owner walks away owing nothing. In exchange, the bank agrees to receive less of the amount owed. They take a short on the sale. And of course, foreclosures, because
it happens.
Oh boy, does it happen. And so many people thought that the deferment, which means postponing your payment a few months. And so if you had a 30-year loan, you postponed it 4 months, it became a 30-year and 4 months loan.
That's not how all of them worked.
Because then there are forbearance. Forbearance is where, okay, we just acknowledge you're not going to send a payment in for 4 months, and then 5 months are due on the 5th month, all in one lump sum. And more often than not, when you sign the forbearance, there's an expedite clause so they can rapidize your foreclosure.
But it's always important to read
every bit of it.
If it's boring, we know. We deal with contracts daily, but it's important to read and understand and ask questions.
And keep it. Some people put it in a filing cabinet and they don't know where they put it. No, you have a folder and you better know where it is, because if someone does a dumb at the bank, you have to be able to pull out the document and go, I signed this. This is the copy. This is the original. This is that, saying, I have 4 months. It is 2 months. I still have 2 more before I have to do X, Y, Z.
Right.
There are so many stories of where some bureaucrat at a bank misread something, did something wrong, or their higher up told them to do it and they just went with the flow, and it completely screwed over the homeowner. And I only know of one court case, where the owner won, and that's because the mortgage was already paid off on the house and they foreclosed on it. And the people had millions of dollars to fight the attorneys because they wanted to make sure it was public, and this was a house in Florida. Sorry, I do short sales, or used to do short sales, so I remember this kind of stuff. And I've heard all sorts of horror stories on the other side. So let's just hope you don't go there. Let's focus on the buying side.
Right.
It is a seller's market right now, and a lot of banks are keeping their foreclosed properties and trying to sell them as, again, REOs, real estate owned. Real estate owned, yes. And so they're trying to sell it themselves, but also the VA, Ginnie Mae, Freddie Mac, all them, the insurers or guarantors of the loans, are also trying to keep whichever ones they can and sell them. And it is a hot market even in the foreclosure realm. The main things we want to kind of go over is just a quick snapshot of what you need to be aware of if you're a buyer looking at these general distressed properties: foreclosure, bank-owned, and short sale. So let's start with short sale, because I think REO and foreclosure kind of go hand in hand. Short sale, they do not repair.
Either way, on all of these,
Yeah.
you're not dealing directly with the owner. You're dealing with a lender or a bank or the government entity that owns the property.
So yes, and there are certain real estate owned REOs where if they've already done the repairs, like if they have invoices, a good foreclosure or real estate agent that works for them, like Mary Berry or Randy Tarleton, those people that specifically have the qualifications to sell bank foreclosures, some of them do have invoices for the offhand repair. So yes, you can ask them, say, hey, thank you for the invoices. It says the water heater was fixed, but there's no water heater. Can you please honor the agreement and make sure there's a water heater there? And they'll make the vendors go and make it right. But that's definitely not every case.
No.
So many of them, they just they winterize it to prevent any more plumbing damage. And they walk away and go buy it as is. That means exactly where it is. No moving, no fixing, nothing. Not paint, not rails, squat.
And they don't turn on water for the inspections most of the time either.
Now, with short sales, the owner is supposed to leave utilities on because they're underneath different rules. Now, if they can't afford it, we have to disclose it in a particular fashion to let them know that inspections aren't going to be happening in a normal fashion. Oh, that's the one thing about short sales that's a little bit more beneficial than an REO or otherwise, because short sales, there's still a owner directly involved. They are supposed to have utilities on to help protect the property. REOs, they can winterize, they can all that jazz.
I've also seen short sales where the bank goes ahead and sends in a company to manage the property, and when they do that, they'll turn off the water and do all that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll take care of this.
Anyway, the point is, on these properties that are bank-owned short sales, foreclosures, normal FHA, VA, even some conventional loans is a very big risk. Majority of the time they won't go. First off, like we said, they won't do repairs. So if they don't do repairs, if an appraiser comes in and says anything has to be repaired to meet minimum loan requirement, you have to walk and you're out all the inspection money. So best bet, cash offer. If you got something with the lender, maybe some type of rehab loan, it's best to talk to your lender and let them know what you're wanting to do if you're going that route. Also, I know Christine's seen a few that have went FHA, but like I said, it's very, very, very rare.
And
so if you're FHA, VA, I'd recommend just go the normal resale route.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to, because I don't want to ever see anyone throw away money on inspections and then have to walk, because inspections can be a couple $100 for the home inspection, and then you're talking termite inspection.
But it's also the reason we have home inspection. So there's some people that buy it as is and say, let's not do a home inspection.
Right.
If you have any oots at all, do it anyways. It's better to pay $200 to $500 than to wind up with a house with no plumbing.
That's very rare, though, for your normal buyer to have that money just to throw away to go do that. So
if they're looking in REOs and foreclosures,
but they're normally an investor, they have experience with that, so they're ready to know the cost. Your normal, even me, when I was first, I would have never known. I wouldn't have known. You wouldn't have known.
Yeah, when I was not in real estate.
Most people that do just normal buying to live and move on don't realize.
Yeah, they hear all these stories about down payment assistance. Yes, at a normal, fresh out of the box, turnkey, move-in ready house, you can probably get that. But if that's where you're at in your life right now, do not be looking at REOs or short sales or HUD homes, those ones foreclosed on the insurer guarantor side. It just, there's a high chance it's not going to pan out and you're going to get your hopes up to get a cheap deal, but you can't qualify for it because of the wrong loan type. And so it's just, there's a lot of things. Also, if you are looking to buy one of those right now, the market is ridiculously high, and it appears to be statewide at the minimum. I think most people would agree that, yeah, in Oklahoma, it's definitely, for the most part, just gone up. Even small towns have seen an increase because there's a migration. And so, like on these HUD homes, it's on a bid system. You need to know going into it right now, as of March of 2021, you're probably going to be doing a bid at the suggested price or higher. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a nicer quality home, there will be plenty of people competing because...
Or if it's in a hot neighborhood.
Hot neighborhood, good quality home, or it's just an oddity,
and
this
by
one
hot
house.
Neighborhood, you always get areas in cities that are on the rise, or a good rental area if it's an investment property. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean by
and you never know who's got, what investor or person has this is where I'm going to have every house. This will be my rental neighborhood. And so some people, there are more than I expected of investors that are like, I just want this neighborhood. any house shows up, I will pay probably more than the market price because I want to control. It's worth it to them to make sure, one, all their rentals are next to each other or they have groups suggested. And so that's kind of, they are out there and more than I thought they were. The more I talk to certain wholesalers, they're like, oh, I do Yukon, but I specifically want this one or this one. They don't mind going outside their circle, but if it's in those particular zones that they've attached to,
they want it.
They want it, and they'll pay more than the average person because then it's that much more leverage and flexibility. Especially makes me think of Carl, who's doing well, by the way. He will try and get houses near each other so that way he can keep the neighborhood going on the up. He has good renter in this house. The house next door comes available. He'll buy that one and fix it up. So that way it's increasing not only his property value, but the neighborhood quality. And if you keep doing that, it does benefit not only your community, but it does kind of benefit you because you have you're slowly building up this neighborhood and reaping a direct benefit while your community reaps a direct benefit as well.
So the point of this, if you're a normal, and by I mean normal, you're just going to buy a house to live in it and then eventually sell or live there forever. Don't go.
If you're FHA, you're not ready for this. If you're 10% conventional loan, a 10% down conventional loan, cash, a very handy person.
Even then, it still depends on the situation.
There's so many variables. Right. So if you've got a ton of cash and this is the house you want, good for you. If you're a first-time home buyer, you want to go somewhere where you know you can get it for your loan type. You probably need to keep shopping. And so just a lot of things. Again, talk to your realtor.
And not finding a house that needs a little bit of work, it's still different than one that won't do any repairs. I walked into some house that needs some work. Buyers were more than willing to do it. We were doing a normal type of loan, FHA, VA, one of those, conventional, who knows. But it still had to pass to meet minimum loan requirements. Therefore, the sellers had to be willing to do any repairs if that came up.
Yes, definitely something to keep in mind because, yeah, cool, you don't mind scraping and painting, flaking paint, but legally the buyer can't do that on a house they don't own. The seller has to be willing to do it, even if they do just the basic scrape and whatever spare paint it is, it doesn't match, but it's on there because FHA requires safe, sound, and secure, and that means wood is protected.
And I understand sometimes I've had buyers that go, we're going to go in and redo this whole room, so just tell them to do what they need to make it meet. They didn't want them to go above and beyond what was needed because they were going to go in there and
it would have been wasteful to have the seller to do all this. And
so that's where communication is a big thing between you and your realtor and then the realtor on the other side. So that makes a huge difference when you all communicate and can come to, because that helped the sellers out there like, oh great, we didn't, we were trying to figure out how we were going to do this without having to hire someone, which would have been a whole lot more expensive for the sellers. Yeah. So it worked out.
Yep. We could talk your ear off, but in the meantime, you guys have a great weekend. It's supposed to be a little bit rainy. Just enjoy it because it's not snow or ice. Okay.
Chance of hail, though.
Oh, hail.
Right?
Okay. This is WRME Life, where we do real life, real world, real estate every day.
Bye, guys.